Alright, I want to talk about the previews that I saw for the movie Super 8. It came with 5 previews. Some were new, some were updated. But yeah, so the first one that I saw was Cowboys and Aliens, which I think the only reason why this movie was made, just so they can have a very clever play on words with Cowboys and Indians, but now it's Cowboys versus Aliens. It's Jon Favreau's new film, the guy who did Iron Man, and it has Daniel Craig, Harrison Ford, Sam Rockwell, some really good people, but if you know me, I'm not really a big fan on Western, even though this doesn't come off as a complete Western movie. I just think, as far as the trailer goes, that I'm not really sold on this one, so we'll see. Most likely I'll probably check it out, but it's not on my to-do list. The next movie is called Abduction, and this one stars Taylor Lautner, who is getting a crack at playing the lead actor in his own action movie. And this movie is about him finding out that the people that he'd been living with is not really his real parents, and there's this really big mystery, sort of secret behind where he's from. It gives off a little bit of a Bourne identity sort of feel to it, so I think there'll probably be a lot of martial art fighting in there, a lot of gunplay, but coming from a kid who obviously is not really that popular on the acting side of things from the Twilight movies, not sure how this is going to go, but I think everyone's going to be really curious how he can hold his own, pull his own weight. So I'm actually willing to give this a shot. Real Steel with Hugh Jackman, which is sort of an adaptation to the game Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I don't know if you guys remember what those were, but yeah, it's about not too distant future where fighting, boxing, the sport of boxing is not really as popular as it used to be. So they've decided, instead of humans, you actually make robots, and you use remote controls to put them in a fighting ring and have them fight to the death. And Hugh Jackman plays a boxer who just sort of is, not really good at his career, I guess, as a boxer, and so he uses a robot to sort of carry on the dream of being a great boxer. As I saw the teaser to this, it came off very cheesy, sort of, there's really no point making a movie about, the Rock'em Sock'em Robot game, but this movie had an updated trailer which gave you more plot details, and it involves him sort of interacting with this little boy who sort of looks up to him as sort of a father figure, and so besides trying to prove his self-worth as far as being a good boxer and things like that, there's a little bit of an underdog feel to it, especially with even the robot that they even use in most of their fights. So after seeing this trailer, I actually have more interest in seeing it more, and I'm a big fan of Hugh Jackman, so I'll probably be at that one. The next movie is Zookeeper with Kevin James, and his track record in his own movies, especially where he's the lead guy, hasn't been very well. So why is this movie any different? As far as the trailer goes, I don't really see a difference. His movies always have some kind of real funny moment in the trailer. Real laugh-out-loud scenes, but as a whole, his movies come off very cheesy, very childish, and sort of not worth it. But obviously, this movie is in the same form of like Beverly Hills Chihuahua, Marmaduke, things like that, where the animals are talking, using CGI, special effects for their mouths, getting really big stars who've never been in movies in such a long time to play the voices, and this movie, I'm a little bit on the fence, but overall, it's not really on my to-do list. It'll obviously not do well in theaters, in my opinion. A nice little original story, kind of, but again, there's really no point into it, so yeah, that's Zookeeper. Now I'm gonna go into the review on the feature. Alright, let's talk about Super 8. This is J.J. Abrams' latest movie. I believe he wrote and directed this. And, okay, so let's start with the trailer. Now, the trailer comes off as a thriller, sort of monster movie, gives off this very scary terror vibe to it. And I will admit, after watching the trailer, I was a little confused because with Spielberg sort of involved in it, there's no way this movie could be a hardcore thriller, or something like Cloverfield, something that, you know, J.J. Abrams is familiar with. So I was a little torn exactly on which direction this movie was going to go, especially involving a group of kids. Now, the movie is classified as a mystery sci-fi thriller, and honestly, I found the movie to be a little bit predictable. So I didn't really get the mystery aspect of it. Of course, they made us wait throughout the movie to really find out what was really going on. But at the same time, there were moments in the movie that were obviously very predictable. I knew what was going to happen sort of from beginning to end. And so I'm not too sure exactly which direction they were trying to go with this. The movie sort of was a little bit misleading as far as the trailer is concerned. If you remember M. Night Shyamalan's Lady in the Water, if you were to watch that trailer again, everybody thought that it was going to be a monster movie and something very, not necessarily bloody, but a little bit more horror or thriller, or just, you know, to raise up, you know, a couple of scares. And the movie didn't come off like that at all. It was a complete 180. It played off more as a fairy tale, you know, just a story, a little childlike, and that's what this movie did. The movie featured a bunch of kids who get together to make a movie to enter into a film festival, and during one of the shoots, this train goes by during them filming, and it derails, which after an amazing action sequence of this train derailing, one of the cars releases this thing that just escapes. And throughout the movie, they're trying to figure out exactly what is it, why is it here, what's it going to do next, and then, of course, there's a whole bunch of scares and hints throughout, and a little bit of thrill to keep you sort of motivated and interested. But again, it played off very childish to me. I'm not going to say that it was like E.T. or anything like that, but I mean, when you're involving kids, most of the time in movies, they don't kill kids or hurt them as much, especially when they're that young. So as far as a thriller, there wasn't really much of that. I mean, there were moments where that was sort of surprising and made me jump a little bit, but at the same time, I knew at the end of the day, they weren't going to hurt any of those kids. So when you involve a lot of action scenes that has that, you kind of don't really get scared or very intense moments because, you know, they're not going to really, you know, kill a kid. So it just kind of missed me on sort of, I guess, the genre and the whole point of the movie. As far as the writing, I thought this movie was a great way to sort of put a very wholesome, childish, very coming-of-age story spin on something that could also be classified as an action sort of thriller, and combine the two. But I just don't think that this movie, entertainment-wise, just delivered. Watching this movie, I got a whole bunch of other movies that I could see a lot of similarities with this, and Stephen King comes to mind. Movies like Stephen King's It, or Stand By Me, which basically focuses around a group of really tight, close friendships dealing with a terror or some kind of monster-like thing, at least for Stephen King's It, as well as Stand By Me, was just the journey and sort of growing up, maturing into, you know, young adults or whatever. And I got sort of a sort of vibe or feeling that was very similar to Super 8. But the one that was very sort of that kind of caught my eye with a lot of material that is similar to Stephen King was Dreamcatchers. And if you remember that movie, which again totally bombed, nobody liked it. Me personally, I thought it was actually alright. But same thing, group of friends get together, they sort of reminisce about their childhood, and you got a big cast sort of all together in one location, and then there is some unknown terror monster, what have you, sort of threatening that, and it gets them to sort of work together. Some of their friendships are tested, and they have to survive. Now, if you're not a fan of Dreamcatchers, to me, I think that this movie is a little bit similar in just that sort of aspect. Obviously, they were filmed in two different types. One was a little bit more horror than the other, but at the same time, I get the same feeling that I got from the other one. So, anybody who does like this movie, Super 8, I mean, that's good. You might have gotten some kind of nostalgic sort of feel to it, but at the same time, it's exactly like Dreamcatchers in a way, and so I didn't really get enough of an original storyline from this movie. So overall, my score for this movie, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 on my entertainment scale, and it gets a point for writing. Even though I kind of trashed it earlier, I do think that there were some good elements in the movie, some humor. It definitely kept me engaged, so I'll definitely give it a point for that. I did enjoy the acting, and even though this movie isn't really one of my favorites, I am going to recommend it. And I'll say it's because J.J. Abrams is amazing. I just think that he is a great writer and director. I love his earliest stuff. Star Trek was one of my favorite movies of the summer when it came out, and I still love Alias and Lost as TV series, and I only think that he can do more great things. So, I mean, just as a moviegoer and out of just curiosity, I would definitely just watch it just to kind of get your own sort of view on it, and just enjoy a somewhat fun movie. It also goes back to the basics as well of how movies used to be back then, where you could make a monster movie and not be so over the top with it, with blood and guts and gore, and just having them be the most monstrous things out there. A monster movie can still be fun and things like that. So I mean, if you're a fan of that kind of thing, definitely I would recommend it. As far as replay value, I don't really see a reason for me to really watch this again. I am glad that I saw it, no regrets, but there's really no reason for me to watch it again. And I also think that it was a little misleading on sort of the genre of it being a mystery sci-fi thriller. As it did have those elements, it didn't really play off as I would like to see a mystery and a thriller and a sci-fi. So there you have it, 3 out of 5. Also, after the movie's over, do stay through the credits. It, like I said earlier, the movie is about a group of kids who make a film and try and submit it into a film contest to win a prize. And so during the credits, you get to see the final project, the whole movie all put together from beginning to end. And as sad as this is to say, I must let you know that this small little 2-minute movie that they made in the movie was better than Super 8. And that's really sad to say, but I enjoyed so much of it for its, I don't know, it was just funny, and it was raw, and it was just cool. And me wanting to be, a filmmaker one day, in any shape or form, I actually appreciate how, I don't know, how unique it was. So anyways, yeah, I think you'll enjoy the film, and yeah, so just make sure to stay out of the credits. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. 3 out of 5. Do you guys agree or disagree?